That sounds like a preschool entrance exam is what that sounds like that they gave you. I don't know about y'all, but I like my presidents not having to take cognitive tests and bragging about them. I was struggling with that iguana. That iguana had me, you know what I mean? I saw the eye and I was like, is that a lizard? Because it could have been a lowercase L. That's why I said, is that a lizard? And then something told me iguana, and I went iguana. They can't fool your boy. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I am Reese Waters, and this is Street Politics. Now, it should be no surprise, given the fact that Jasmine Crockett has said the thing that needed to be said and that needed to be heard time and time and time and time again, that the government shutdown should be no different.
We're talking about the very basics. Like, it is really sad when you are in a country that is not a third world country and people are basically begging their government to do the basics. We're not talking about luxuries. It should not be a luxury that you get $6 a day, right, to eat. Like, that should not be a luxury. And we should be looking at the fact that there are funds available and he is choosing not to use those funds. Or when you start to talk about your big billionaire friends as you're continuing to violate laws, why is it that you're not looking out for people that are hungry? Why aren't you looking at the fact that rural America overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump and rural America uses more SNAP benefits than urban America? I mean, like, these are your voters, right? So, like, why aren't you doing those things? So I think that the question should be, which party is truly about being pro-life? Which party is truly about the entirety of the United States? And which party is really more patriotic? I would say that he is a party of him and other rich people and nobody else. And I'm hoping that all Americans can finally wake up and say, we are going to prioritize ourselves. We are going to look for people that maybe we don't think they're super funny or super entertaining, but they will not try to deal death to us with every single policy that they hand out. And ultimately, if people end up going hungry because SNAP benefits end up drying up, this is just a preview of what is going to happen as it relates to what they did in the big ugly bill.
Now that was a whole lot. I had to just let her cook. She talked about doing the basics, as in the things that are legally required, as in, obeying the law, or even obeying your own word in your own plans. The basics. Then she talked about how these are actually moves that are going to affect his own people and his own voters. Feel free to chime in whenever you're ready, MAGA. Patriotism and America first. That, I think they sent the patriotism with the $40 billion to Argentina. I'm pretty sure that was, I believe that all of the patriotism and America First merch was what they collected the $40 billion in when they shipped it to Argentina. And then the pro-life, which I believe has to be my absolute favorite. And one of the most unexplored aspects of the right-wing platform is how, in fact, they call themselves pro-life with the stances that they choose to take. Oh, we've already gone all the way in on the Christian nationalism of it all. Yeah, all the good Christian nature that's exemplified by not only the administration, but its sycophants and the people that apologize for it. But yeah, let's go ahead and go all the way pro-life on that thing. And then the fact that this is just a preview of what is to come with the big ugly bill. Oh yeah, that's right, MAGA. It gets worse. It gets worse. And if you think you mad, imagine how this is landing for the people that tried to prevent it. That's right. That's exactly why they look at you like that.
They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You don't want to do that, Trump. You don't want to do that, Trump. I'm telling you. You want some of that Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
You want some of that? Okay. All right. Marjorie should have told him. She should have told him what Jasmine is about. Matter of fact, I think she lined him up. That's why she ain't tell him. Because I know she be moving a little dirty on the low. That's what that is. Huh? No, not that kind of dirty. Laura Loomer, go sit down.
They have Jasmine Crockett, a low IQ person. They have AOC's low IQ. You give her an IQ test. Have her pass like the exams that I decided to take when I was at Walter Reed. Those are very hard, they're really aptitude tests, I guess, in a certain way, but they're cognitive tests. Let AOC go against Trump. Let Jasmine go against Trump. I don't think Jasmine, the first couple of questions are easy. A tiger, an elephant, a giraffe, When you get up to about 5 or 6, and then when you get up to 10 and 20 and 25, they couldn't come close to answering any of those questions.
A giraffe, an elephant. Were they showing you slideshows? Is that what that is? Was that you learning your letters? G for giraffe, E for elephant? Is that what? That sounds like a preschool entrance exam is what that sounds like that they gave you. I don't know about y'all, but I like my presidents not having to take cognitive tests and bragging about them. That's your strong man. That's your strong man talking about the giraffe and the elephant. I was struggling with that iguana. That iguana had me. You know what I mean? I saw the eye and I was like, is that a lizard? Because it could have been a lowercase. It could have been a lowercase L. That's why I said, is that a lizard? And then something told me iguana, and I went iguana. They can't fool your boy. They can't fool your boy. Macho, macho, macho man. Also, Marco Rubio, you ain't slick. You ain't slick. Hey, Trump, you the most vindictive person that we have ever seen on the world stage. You realize he laughing at you, like literally right behind you, he laughing at you while you talk about your cognitive test, right? Like that. That's your strong man. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But at the end of the day, Trump, I didn't tell you to say none of that. And she heard you. It was real ugly.
Listen, I'm waiting on a reporter, and maybe it'll be you, Caitlin, that finally ask him what is his IQ, because he is constantly talking about, he doesn't even know what a low IQ is. He don't even know which scores are low. And I can guarantee you that whatever score, if he's taken one anytime recently, I'm sure that his qualifies as low. Listen, he's never been known to be an Einstein. This is not a guy who got in on merit when it came to going to college. This is someone who, but for him being born with a silver spoon, probably wouldn't have got into anybody's institution, unlike me. So, I am not worried about that. And I wish people would look at the fact that you have a president of the United States who consistently is obsessing over 2 women of color that are members of the House. You are the president. You have a lot more power than we do, but obviously you consistently feel threatened. And that is why we have seen, the attacks on black women in general from this administration. I don't know what black woman hurt him in his past, honey, but it is really taking him through it.
Omarosa. I think it was Omarosa. That's what I think. I think she did all this.
But I really wish, for the sake of this country and honestly for the sake of the world, that he would focus on his real job and stop worrying about me. My constituents would worry about whether or not I have an adequate IQ, even though that's not the test that he's taking. And it's up to them to decide. It's not him. He can't hire me or fire me, unfortunately for him.
Now, something strikes me as interesting. She talked about the power dynamic, which is something that I've articulated before when it comes to his obsession with attacking black people, blaming the Obama of it all. But specifically as it relates to himself and AOC and talking about the power dynamic and continuing to attack women. of color in the House? Do we want to explore the studio space of Trump exploiting the power dynamic? That's right. You don't want to swear in at a leader, do you? You don't want to swear in because the power dynamic is going to get crazy. It's going to get real crazy. Now, as far as the intelligence of it all, the IQ of it all, something also struck me weird because he continually calls Jasmine Crockett low IQ. But isn't that the same attacks that Megyn Kelly was fending off when she attacked Jasmine Crockett for being educated? That's right. Yeah, Megyn Kelly, I would like a word.
Our next guest has some more on Ms. Crockett. He's Benny Johnson. He's host of The Benny Show, and he has an exclusive report now on Crockett's alleged background. See, he traveled to where Crockett claims she is from a tough area of South Dallas. You know, you hear her speak. She tries to talk street like, okay.
Really? That's how you want to intro the piece about somebody pretending to be from a rough area, is to talk like that? You know, you got to appreciate Megyn Kelly because she don't make you dig too far to dunk on her. She really don't.
Compared to where she's actually from, it's quite a different picture. Where she's actually from is a beautiful, well-manicured area for the elite and highly educated. Here is a clip from Benny's report.
This is where Jasmine Crockett went to school. It's called the Mary Institute and St. Louis Country Day School. It's one of the most prestigious institutions in the entire country, also one of the most expensive.
So let me get this straight. We can simultaneously attack Jasmine Crockett for being low IQ and being too educated and fake ghetto. Ooh, the obsession is wild. I could get it if it was hair related, especially you, Megyn Kelly, because I see it. I could get it if it was hair related, because I don't know what she did for that CNN interview, but that was fire. But the obsession is just so ill-fitting, but so appropriate.
Like, I'm gonna just call a thing a thing. Like, this administration is racist. That he has always been a racist, and that is what we are enduring in this country. Let me give you some facts behind this racism, and they get mad when I say the things that I say, but I will not stop speaking the truth. Number one, I said that what we were experiencing in this country felt like what I would imagine slave patrols to look like. And frankly, anybody that knows anything about slave patrols, this is exactly what it was like. We're talking about lawless people that are going around with no warrants or anything, and it's all about rounding people up and disappearing them. That is what's currently taking place. And interestingly enough, even though modern day policing was born out of slave patrols.
What? Oh, y'all didn't know? Yeah, I did a whole video about that back in the day. When it comes to the history of police in America, it turns out KRS-One was right. Well, kind of. Now, back when the United States was still a series of colonies, you remember that, policing and what would become our country was based on the law enforcement systems in European countries, relying heavily on citizen volunteers, as well as watch groups, constables, sheriffs, and an early precursor to the militia system. However, in southern colonies, formal slave patrols were created as early as 1704, originating in the Carolinas. These patrols had one mission and one mission only: to establish a system of terror and squash slave uprisings with the capacity to pursue, apprehend, and return runaway slaves to their owners. Yeah. I think she watched it. She ain't watch it. But y'all should.
When I was speaking with one of my friends who is a federal law enforcement officer, he told me that one of the things that he has observed is that the culture is created at the top. And when I think about it, it absolutely makes sense. If you have somebody at the top that will not tolerate the types of things that we're seeing, then maybe those under you won't do it. But we know that we have a racist at the top. He has called himself the head law enforcement agent in this country, and therefore everybody has decided that it is okay to take off their hoods and mask up as ICE agents. Now, we've talked about how they have hidden themselves, but again, it reminds me of the Klan. That is why I proposed the Clear ID Act, to make them identify themselves, because it is dangerous for law enforcement as well as individuals, because you don't know, especially with ICE going around and doing the things that thugs do.
Now, it may sound like hyperbole, what she's saying, but why don't you take a look at the Department of Labor's new social media campaign and tell me whether or not what she's saying is hyperbole. These are the images from the Department of Labor. Yeah. I sense a theme. Pastels. It's just a lot of pastel use there. That was it.
They're busting out windows. They're breaking into homes. They're breaking people's arms. This doesn't sound like law enforcement. It sounds like thuggery to me.
I don't know, y'all. You tell me.
I can videotape. I'm a combat vet. No, I'm a combat vet. Are you a... Then where's this cop? Are you a cop? Are you ICE or a cop? Hey, are you ICE or a cop? Thoroughly. Suerte. Suerte, señora. Suelta la niña. 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 Oh, get up, get up, get up, get up. Tíralo, tíralo.
But just like you can have somebody at the top that sets the tone for ugliness going down, you guys are blessed, because in the city of Chicago, you have a mayor. You have a mayor that has decided that he will not back down. He will not bend to this administration, and instead he will stand up for the people. You have a man of valor that is going up against a villain, and I think that we have to make sure, especially while we're in his city, that we recognize his leadership, because it is invaluable. Now, some people think that this is all about Chicago, but I want people to understand that this cancer is infecting us everywhere, and if you don't think that it can come to your city, well, I've got news for you.
Now, I'm definitely not going to be caught slipping, because they've already come to my city in Washington, D.C. And just in case you were wondering why exactly I ride with Jasmine Crockett the way that I do, because she was here advocating for the youth here in D.C., which are not her constituents, just as a human being with empathy and a responsibility to the Constitution that she takes seriously. But the fact that so many people see what's going on, because I didn't need it to happen here to object to it. In theory, I objected to it. I certainly did when it happened in LA, but how there are so many other people that not only before, but during and since the election have said, but not me, is why they're continuing to stake out new ground for their authoritarian takeover.
You see, we've been talking about the cruel and unusual punishment that is in violation of the 8th Amendment that is being handed out. And honestly, it's a spit in the face of every American that we have an actual convicted felon that feels aggrieved to the extent that he feels like he's owed hundreds of millions of dollars when people are literally dying under our watch. Recently, I just sent a letter, it looks like on October 22nd, to Kristi Noem. And one of the things that I laid out is that we have seen the most detainee deaths in ICE custody in a single year in decades, with 20 deaths in the last 9 months compared to 24 deaths in the prior 4 years. Now, this week, we learned that an individual who went to the Dallas ICE field office for a routine visit, meaning that they were doing things the quote unquote right way, they were detained. They knew that this individual had diabetes and required insulin every 2 hours. Despite ICE having been told this, the individual was denied access to their medication for 8 days, resulting in hospitalization. There are some that say that we are making America great. But to me, it doesn't feel like greatness. It feels like grossness.
Now, she did mention a couple of $100 million, which was not something that I have seen fit to comment on yet. But something worth noting here is him trying to shake down his own Department of Justice for $230 million for past cases for which he feels aggrieved. And I get why he would do that, because of the shameless and spineless settlements that he's been offered up to this point for baseless defamation lawsuits. Well done, Paramount and CBS and Disney. Thanks for playing. Who's gonna pay that? Who's gonna pay that $230 million? I have no reason to think he won't get it, because we haven't seen an independent thought from anybody in this administration yet. So I have no reason to think he won't get it. Who's going to pay that $230 million? It will be the taxpayers will pay it, huh? It will be the taxpayers. So we are going to pay the $230 million for the baseless lawsuit directly to the guy that's just enriched himself. How much since he's been here? While they pull social safety nets and send money to Argentina, MAGA. Yeah. It's going to have to be a loud mea culpa. It's going to have to be a loud one. No, you can't just take your hat off and blend in, because I've seen y'all try that.
I want to ask a few questions, and it doesn't matter who answers them. Is it great or gross to go into people's houses and drag them out in the middle of the night?
Gross.
Is it great or gross to make people afraid to do something as simple as go to school?
Gross.
Is it great or gross to make hard-working people say, I am too scared to show up to my job?
Gross. Extremely gross.
Thank you so much to each and every one of you for your courage. Thank you so much for showing up. And Miss O, I want to tell you that I understand that your mother is being detained in El Paso. I did go and visit that facility. I want you to know that I am always on my job.
And that is the kind of advocacy that we see. She was right when she said she's always on her job. She wasn't done? Okay.
The president has time to do everything but what he needs to focus on. In fact, we heard the press secretary say that his main priority is the ballroom that no one asked for, the ballroom that requires him to destroy historic pieces of the White House. And so it doesn't seem like he's interested. It is my hope that his friends start calling him Jeff Bezos when those Amazon planes are not flying. Hopefully, he will listen to them, because he's not listening to the pain that the American people are suffering through. As again, you played a clip and he said everybody's going to be in good shape. Who is everybody? Because when people are hungry, which people were already hungry in this country, we have not done right by those that have been struggling, because $6 a day to eat doesn't fix it. And you say everybody's going to be in good shape as you are putting more money into your son's pocket, as you are saying that we should take American taxpayer dollars and put them in your pocket to the tune of $280 million. I mean, I don't know who everybody is, but it is not the average American.
Yep. MAGA, y'all not everybody. Yeah, y'all are not everybody. That's Those are the breaks. That's what he said. It is just so on the nose that he's building a ballroom while he's out of town. Like it just is so on the nose. Just for the people that weren't convinced when he was sending out memes in the days before the shutdown that he might have some complicity in their pain, he is taking it to the nth degree. It almost seems performative and intentional.
If there was one thing that I could try to get voters, all voters, to understand about this administration, it would be that the pain that they're experiencing and about to continue experiencing even more is a feature of this administration's program, not a bug. The suffering is not a byproduct. It is the point.
Do you worry that people will blame your party when they do not have those benefits any longer?
I don't worry about that. I think that's why the White House has decided that they would just violate, well, I mean, they consistently violate the law, but we know that this is absolutely a violation of the Hatch Act. And so they are trying to make sure that they can place blame, because the reality is that they control the White House, they control the House, they control the Senate. And typically when you are an adult in politics, you sit down and you work together to come up with a solution. And right now, Democrats are trying to make sure that the CBO, or the Congressional Budget Office, doesn't have to estimate how many more deaths are going to come at the hands of Republicans who refuse to make sure that people in this country can have health care. There seems to be a theme. Yes, we will get rid of your health care so that we can go and bail out Argentina. Yes, we will get rid of your food that is on your table, whether we're talking about the farmers who are not going to be able to put food on our tables because there are record bankruptcies that they are filing right now, or if we're talking about SNAP benefits. Like, they seemingly, it is a matter of we've got the king and he's just all about eating his cake, and don't worry about the poor little peasants. But that's where we are right now.
Well, first of all, McDonald's don't sell cake, so we got to bring it down. Maybe apple pie. He might be eating his apple pie. How about the irony of Argentina, who we sent that money to, having free health care? That America First hat is getting heavy. It's getting as heavy as, you know. It's getting heavy. You know, it's getting heavy. But she wouldn't be Jasmine Crockett if she didn't give us things to pay attention to and to look for moving forward.
And as it relates to a third term,
Go ahead.
People need to listen to what he's saying. They need to listen to that, because that is a very scary thing.
Serious?
It is unconstitutional. I do think he's being serious. He has hats that are made. He's starting to get people primed for this. There are people that are riding around and wrapping vehicles with Trump 2028. This is a serious threat. We know that he didn't want to leave the house last time, and that's why we ended up with January 6th. So no, people need to think about this seriously and understand that the people around him consistently break the law, and the Supreme Court has said that, yeah, he has immunity. So, you know, I don't know how they will rule on whether or not he gets immunity when he does something and he is not duly elected, because there are no third terms in this country. But we really need to be concerned, especially as his friends are the ones buying things such as Dominion.
Now, I will say, him doing merch and wrapping vehicles wouldn't necessarily be a reason to take anything seriously, because he seems to not even know about the words that come out of his own mouth. However, I will say the fact that other people are parroting this is something to pay attention to. The fact that, as she asserted, we had to get authorities involved to evict him the last time is something we should certainly pay attention to. And I don't know about y'all. I forget somebody put this in the chat to my premiere. I don't know about y'all, but I have never done renovations on a rental. I've never done renovations on a rental. So there's no reason to not take all of that seriously, especially considering he has taken every single opportunity in appearing before the military to make it about himself and turn it into a partisan political rally. And if you doubt for a moment that he would try and pursue remaining in office, you have to ask yourself, would the Constitution stop him? Has he seen fit to respect the Constitution before? Matter of fact, let's stop short of the Constitution. Does he abide by rules, regulations, and norms in any aspect of his life? Look at this man and tell me he abides by rules, regulations, and norms. I rest my case. And shout out to Jasmine Crockett, the attorney, for presenting the evidence so clearly. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. And I want to send a very special shout out to everybody who made our 600 subscriber members live celebration. Everybody do the twist. Okay, got me out the streets. And then they came and found me to drag me back to the streets. And while they were there, he came out with twist again, like we did last summer. And then all the thugs was dancing. And the crime stopped. I like those members' lives. It's like I can speak more freely. It's like being at the world's largest barbershop that never fixes my bald spot. Speaking of members, I want to give a shout out to Lee from both YouTube and Patreon, where you can join her at patreon.com/ReeseWaters. She sent me this photo saying, we took pics with our shirts. Mom never misses an episode of Reese. I always have to explain the Gen X millennial jokes. Thank God I didn't have to explain the Yin Yang twins. She didn't ask. Yeah, good luck with that. I still can't explain the Yin Yang twins to anybody. I can't explain the Yin Yang twins to myself, but I'm sure she thoroughly enjoyed the verses between No Limit and Cash Money since she's newly up on the culture, and I can only hope to age like Birdman.
Trying to get some money and not be in the streets, and I met BG, I met Wayne, I met Juvie, I met Turk. Shout out to Turk, you little.
But thank you so much for the merch pick. You can submit one at admin@ReeseWaters.com, and we have some new merch that's available now, including the Who Raised Y'all gear and now FAFO gear. I know we had to do FAFO gear. I had done too many FAFO videos. I got to the point where it was actually a legal requirement that I had to have FAFO t-shirts and mugs.
And right now, you can save £50 per person. That's £200 off for a family of 4.
So make sure you guys check that out at thepeoplesgetup.com. And you guys may have noticed it's now tied to my YouTube. So you'll be able to see it right there on my YouTube page.
It's been 84 years.
And last but not least, because I gave so much love to the Libras, and I am in fact on the cusp, I gotta give some love to my Scorpios as well. Where my Scorpios at? That's right, Picasso and Frank Ocean and Jimmy Kimmel. Welcome back. Matthew McConaughey. All right. I enjoy a good Scorp. Is that Drake over there? That's Drake. Y'all calling him Lawbury now? Kris Jenner. That's Kris Jenner. I know that ain't who is that Diddy? That look like Diddy. Why he ain't got no shirt on? Drake, Kris Jenner, and Diddy? Nah, I can't do that. Nah, I'm gonna go with a week early. I'm full Libra. I can't even do that.